Woohoo, we're live. Yay! This is Math 40, Chapter 5, Exponents and Polynomials, 5.1 Rules for Exponents, page numero uno. And we are about to start learning about exponents. Yay! Okay, so here we go. Half of this first section is just about language. So let's talk about how to pronounce these things and how to describe these things. First off, if I have, let me write it right here. Let me do 2 to the 4th power up there. The 2 is called the base, and the 4 is called the exponent or power. So we've got a base and an exponent. Now there are certain ways to pronounce things. For example, if I have this, 3 is my base, 2 is my exponent. This means I have 2 3's multiplied together, which would give me 9. We pronounce it 3 to the 2nd, and then the word power is optional. 3 to the 2nd power, or some people say 3 to the 2nd. We always use the ordinal numbers, not the cardinal numbers. Or you can simply say 3 squared. And the reason it's 3 squared is it's because it's like the area of a square. The area of a square is the length of the side times the length of the other side. So 3 times 3, you're making a square with side length 3. Now this one with 4 as the base and 3 as the exponent is 4 times 4 times 4, which is 64. We pronounce this 4 to the 3rd. And again, the word power is optional. Or 4 cubed. Now 4 cubed is because this would be the volume of a cube if each of the dimensions were 4. So that's where that comes from. 3 squared, 4 cubed. We don't extend this. There's no 5 tesseracted. So these are pretty much the only two, nicknames that we have. So how do we work with these? Well, the first thing we need to do is we need to figure out how to calculate these on calculators. They're different on different calculators. So on a calculator, you're looking either for a key that looks like a little rooftop, or a lot of different calculators have different things. A y to the x, so actually a drawing x to the y. I've seen x to the box. And on WebAssign, you're looking for box to the box, or on some calculators. So basically, it's either going to look like an exponent or it's going to look like this little kind of triangle arrowy thing. And you're going to type in 5 to the 4th power, 5 to the 4th power. You're going to type in 5, and then whatever your exponent key is, and then the exponent, and then equals or enter. And in this case, I believe it's 625, but let's grab the handy dandy calculator. 5 raised to the 4th power equals 625. Woohoo! Ooh, ding, ding, ding. Isn't that exciting? Okay, next up. There are a couple of rules that we can use with exponents. Now here, I'm hoping you've actually played with exponents a little bit. So these won't be brand new. These will be reminding you of rules. But even if they are brand new, hopefully they make a lot of sense. So if we have x cubed, or x to the 3rd power, times x to the 4th power, x cubed is x times x times x. Remember, exponents are always multiplications. And x to the 4th is x times x times x times x. If we look at this, here's the 3rd, here's the 4th. All together, there are 7. So we end up with x to the 7th power. Now, x to the 7th power from 3 and 4, all we did was we added them together. And that's where we get this beautiful rule in a box. And I'll make it bigger so you can actually see it on this screen. A to the x times a to the y equals a to the x plus y. It's not quite a box. Had to go a little sideways. There you go. A to the x times a to the y is a to the x plus y. So we're going to add the exponents. Okay, what if we're dividing? Well, hopefully you've got some ideas about what this will be, but let's give it a try. 5x cubed over x squared. That's x times x times x all over x times x. Now, an aside, I don't actually have to write in the multiplications. If I just write the x's next to each other, it is assumed that there is multiplication there. I'm writing them in to emphasize that this is multiplication, just to have something to remind us. Okay, so if I take a look at this, I could cancel this x in common, and I can cancel this x in common, and I end up with just x to the first power, which is just x. X to the first power is just the letter itself. How did I get to 1 from 3 and 2? Well, if you're peeking down here, you can already see the rule. The way that we got there was we took the power on top and we subtract the power on the bottom. So the numerator power in the numerator, the exponent in the numerator, minus the exponent in the denominator. That gave us that x to the first power. And so this is an example of this rule. And again, this is tiny, tiny on this screen. So let me write it bigger. A to the x all over a to the y is a to the x minus y. Now, those of you who studied this before, you may know that there is a bigger formula that goes with this that would allow us to put the a anywhere we want. For right now, if you have a's on top and a's on the bottom, we have to cancel it this way. That's the only way we know how to do it. Okay, the last rule on this page, there are a lot of rules, is what happens if I have x squared cubed. So what if I have one base with two variables? Now let's scooch it back up and look at this formula. This formula up here, a to the x, a to the y, or in our original problem, x to the third, x to the fourth. Notice we have two bases, two exponents. Down here, what's happening that's different? Well, what's different is I have one base and two exponents. It's slightly different. So in other words, I want to do x squared times x squared times x squared. Well, that is x times x times x times x times x times x, right? 3 of those, which is x to the 6th. Okay, so where did that come from? Well, if we look at 6 and we look at 2 and 3, you could kind of guess this is multiplying. And sure enough, that is the rule. If I have a to the x inside to the yth power, overall, I have a to the x times y. Okay, so we've got 3 formulas, and these 3 formulas, you can kind of see them all here. These 3 formulas, these need to be memorized. These are going to continue. These are going to follow you through as far as you go in math. These are going to be something you have to know. So do practice and make sure you memorize these in your long-term memory. These are going to really come in handy in math. Woohoo! Page 1 of Exponents. You did it. Woohoo!